Hey guys, beautiful spring day, the Pacific Northwest, about 60 degrees, middle of April, and I'd like to do a quick showing of my 1946 KD4, and it's a great little motor. You know, the OMCs back in the day, they looked a little, to me they looked like clunky add-ons, like the gas tank like didn't belong. But these things Mercury really put some thought into with the covers for the spark plugs, and these are the type of spark plugs that have the little eyelet that you screw onto the back of the spark plug, so you don't necessarily want to get them wet. And so they put some thought into it. You know, the graphics are very clean, kind of like art, modern art, not modern art, but you know, the 20s almost. And it's got a neat profile, very skinny at the bottom, and kind of like a little spaceship on top. And it's, you know, rope start, wherever my rope is here. But I want to also, before we start it, and I'm not going to do a speed test because this is just kind of a special little motor for me, but this was hanging on somebody's wall as artwork for many years. And what I'm doing here is I'm bringing art to life, you might say. And my main focus today is I don't want people to be afraid of working on these old motors. You know, there's nothing to be intimidated about. What really stops these motors from being used and loved is the consumables, like the water pump, you know, maybe the carburetor parts. And I wanted to go over that very quickly because if you do enough research and you fiddle around enough, you're going to be able to find replacements. Now, the original water pump for these are not available anymore. You're not gonna find them on the internet, and you're certainly not gonna make them by hand. But I brought out a couple examples. So here's a very modern OMC water pump impeller, and here's the original impeller that came out of this motor, and it was running about 50%, or I mean not 50%, maybe about 20-30%. It was still pumping some water, but the splines are very weak. And so what you do is you just find an impeller that has the same general shape, and this has the same, you know, width. And then what you need to do is, let me turn this over here. If you look real close, this has a little brass key that slides over the prop shaft, and there's two little legs that go in there, and then it turns it. So what you need to do is you need to get a little sander, some sandpaper in there, and sand it out to the same diameter. And then I use a little Dremel tool, and I just Dremeled out this side a little more, and then I had to make this side. And then you have a water pump for your old 1946 outboard motor. So nothing's impossible. And then I wanted to do a quick showing of the coils. So this motor takes the early Scintilla, I think I'm saying that right, Scintilla coil by Bendix, and these are readily available. You can get these. You know, they're, I don't know, I think they're like 40 bucks a piece. And this is the first generation Phelim coil, which are getting really hard to get. Some people are asking $200 a coil for these nowadays. And then the coil, the later model of the Phelim coils was more round. As you see, that's kind of a rectangle. So, and then the standard magnets were on the flywheel. It would circle around this, and the laminates would pick it up. These Scintilla ignition systems, the magnets actually on the inside of the coil of the rotating, so the magnets are inside, and then you solder on your spark plug wire on there. So my main point is don't be intimidated by these old motors. You know, some people like to look at them. I like to bring them out and let you guys, you know, hear what they sounded like back in the day. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put you up on the holder here because it may take me a few tries on this one. I'm I'm not going to do a speed test because that isn't the point of this. I just wanted to, most people have never heard what these sound like, so we'll start it up here. This motor likes to be started a fairly far over. So we'll give it a go here. All right, well, that's what a KD4 from 1946 sounds like. Very, very easy motors to work on. If you find one, pick one up. They're getting a little expensive, but I think you can get a good working model like this for anywhere between $200 and $400. A real junky one's going to be cheaper, but you know, you're going to be into it for more. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys.